The Dauntless dropped from FTL with a soundless lurch. Space unfolded into an expanse of black, speckled with distant stars. The civilian convoy's distress beacon pulsed faintly on the tactical display, a slow, steady heartbeat in the void. Captain Elara Vance studied it in silence. Too steady. Distress beacons usually faltered, corrupted by interference or damage. This one was perfect, unwavering. "Visual range in 30 seconds, said Commander Ryland from the XO station. His voice was crisp but carried an edge. The rest of the bridge crew moved in controlled bursts, hands sliding over hollow controls, eyes flicking between readings. "Argus," Vance said to the ship's AI. "Full spectrum scan. I want to know what's hiding in my starfield." "Running," the AI replied, its voice neutral but faintly modulated, a subtle rhythm Vance had learned meant it was already suspicious. The forward display resolved the beacon's source. Cargo pods floated, scattered across the vector like dice thrown by an invisible hand. Their hulls were scorched, paint blistered from heat. No signs of propulsion. No debris from crew compartments. No ships. Lieutenant Kaido at tactical leaned forward. "No escape pods, Captain. No life signs. The pods are transmitting, but readings are clean. Too clean." Vance's jaw tightened. "Someone wanted us to see this." The Dauntless slid closer on minimal thrust. The silence on the bridge was heavy. Even the low hum of the reactors seemed muted. "Feigned EM spike," Argus reported. "Bearing 028 by -4. Source inconsistent with background radiation." Ryland turned to Vance. "Could be a stealth drone. Or a ship running cold." "Could be," Vance said. "But if it is, it's not alone." A probe launched from the portside tube, streaking toward the nearest cargo pod. The camera feed streamed to the main display. The pod's outer shell was intact, though the docking latch was burned. Inside, the compartment was empty. No crates, no supplies, no signs of crew. Kaido frowned. "Beacon was placed manually. Whoever set this up wanted us exactly here." Vance didn't respond immediately. She watched the pod drift across the display, then said, "Argus, run a passive sweep for any mass shadows." The AI's voice was almost immediate. "Multiple anomalous gravitational signatures incoming. FTL bleed traces detected. Estimate contact in 12 seconds. On the display, 6 icons bloomed into existence, closing from all sides. The emptiness of space rippled, and ships emerged like predators stepping from cover. 6 Tark warships, hulls black with streaks of iridescent armor, spread into a crescent formation. Energy patterns flared along their spines. They had cut off every possible exit vector. Even their positions showed confidence, or arrogance. A wide-band hail opened without request. The image of High Warlord Zhirkal filled the central display. His scaled face was lit from below, ridges along his jaw catching the light. His eyes were a deep crimson, unblinking. "Terran vessel," Zhirkal said, voice resonating with the faint metallic distortion of translation. "Power down your engines and weapons. Prepare for boarding. You will be treated with restraint." On the bridge, no one moved. Ryland glanced at Vance. She didn't blink. "Argus," she said quietly. "Map their firing arcs." "Already mapping," the AI replied. "Micro gaps in pattern shift, 1.3 seconds on rotation, starboard flank." Vance leaned back in her chair. "Open channel." The comms officer tapped a control. The channel was live. Vance's voice was calm, almost conversational. "If you wanted to talk, Warlord, you could have knocked." Zhirkal's expression didn't change, but a ripple in his throat scales hinted at irritation. "Your species is young. You will learn respect." "Respect is earned," Vance said. "You'll forgive me if I reserve judgment." His eyes narrowed. "You have one chance to surrender. Waste it, and I will scatter your hull to atoms." Vance muted the channel with a flick of her hand. "Silent running," she ordered. 30 seconds. The bridge lights dimmed. The Dauntless engines cut to a low idle, reactor output dropping. The stars seemed sharper against the sudden darkness. Outside, the Tarkle ships adjusted slightly, but none fired. Vance could almost feel their commanders wondering why she hadn't replied. "Argus," she murmured. "Highlight weak points." "Done." "Flagship's rear shielding is rotating off-pattern every 12 seconds. Likely a shield harmonics fault. Suggest high-velocity strike if range can be closed." Kaido whispered. "They'll expect us to panic. To run. Then let's be unexpected." Vance's tone was low but steady. "They think we're prey. Let's show them what we hunt with." The silent running period ended. Power surged back through the ship. Bridge lights flared to full, displays alive with targeting data. Vance straightened in her chair. "Battle stations," she said. Alarms pulsed through the decks. Crews strapped in. Gun crews slid into turrets. Shield generators roared to full charge. Ryland gave her a sidelong glance. "Odds aren't in our favor." "They never are," Vance said. On the display, the Tarkle ships shifted formation, like wolves circling a lone bear. Vance set her gaze on the flagship's icon, lips tightening into something close to a smile. "Let's give them a reason to regret this." The Dauntless surged forward. The Tarkle fleet moved first. Plasma lances flared from the crescent line, 6 beams slicing the darkness. The Dauntless rolled hard to port, inertial dampers straining to keep the crew conscious. The first salvo missed by kilometers, but the second raked across the forward shields, sending a tremor through the decks. "Shields at 84%, Kaito reported. His hands moved in sharp, practice motions across the tactical display. "They're bracketing us." Vance's eyes stayed locked on the holomap. "Argus, predict their firing cycles." "Pattern detected," the AI replied instantly. "Intervals 9 seconds. Minor variance, 1.4 seconds between ships." She nodded. "Helm, adjust thrust to put us between cycles. Make them chase our shadow." The Dauntless darted forward, each course change timed with surgical precision. Tarkle gunners adjusted, their formation tightening to herd her into the center. It was exactly what Vance wanted them to believe. "Launch decoy package Alpha," she ordered. From the belly of the cruiser, 8 reflective chaff clouds burst outward, each disguised as a heat signature the size of a corvette. Tarkle optics caught them at once, adjusting target locks. One frigate fired prematurely, its lance striking the stern of its neighbor. Energy rippled across the wounded ship's shields. "Friendly fire confirmed," Kaido said, almost grinning. "Minimal damage to them, but their right flank's stalling." Ryland smirked. "They're not used to a fight where the prey kicks back." A sharp tone cut across the bridge, an incoming hail. Vance gave a curt nod, and Jerkal's face filled the central display. "You fight well for an upstart," the warlord said, voice edged with irritation. "But your resistance only delays the inevitable. Surrender now. I will spare your crew." Vance leaned forward, resting her forearms on the console. "If you're offering mercy this early, I'd say you're worried." His eyes narrowed. "You mistake caution for concern." "No," she said, her tone cool. "I don't." She cut the channel before he could reply. "Bring us around to 085. Use the asteroid as cover." The rogue asteroid loomed ahead, a tumbling giant, its jagged surface glinting faintly in the starlight. Gravitational readings spiked as they drew near. "Captain," Ryland said under his breath, "you're thinking about the split lance." "Argus," Vance said, ignoring him. "Can we micro-jump inside the well?" "Risk factor, extreme. Hull stress and navigation drift likely. Probability of success, 62%. That's high enough." Ryland's brow furrowed. "That's also 38% we don't come out facing the right way, or at all." "We'll come out where we need to," Vance said. "Plot it." The Dauntless skimmed the asteroid's surface, its thermal signature vanishing into the background clutter. Tarkle's sensors faltered for a moment, then compensated, tightening the noose. "Micro-jump coordinates locked," Argus confirmed. "Grav shear will limit duration to 2.3 seconds. That's all we need." Engage on my mark. On the far side of the asteroid, the Tarko flagship adjusted its heading, cutting off what it assumed was the Dauntless' escape route. Its aft shields rotated into a known vulnerability window. 3, 2, mark! The stars vanished. The Dauntless reappeared less than 3 kilometers off the flagship's stern. Their gunners didn't even have time to react. Fire all forward batteries, Vance ordered. 6 lances of coherent particle fire tore into the flagship's rear shield bubble. The barrier shimmered, collapsed, and the next volley punched deep into the hull, venting streams of molten armor into space. Tarko flagship drive core destabilizing, Kaito reported. Not crippled yet, but close. The enemy line erupted in chaos. Escorts spun to protect the flagship, breaking their tight crescent. The gap widened between 2 cruisers. Take the gap, Vance said. Hammerfall and Resolute, cover our flank. The escorts surged forward, trading fire with Tarko frigates. Explosions lit the dark, throwing jagged shadows across the asteroid's surface. Zherkal's voice cut in again, this time unbidden, his image sharp with anger. You think you've won something? You've only earned my focus. Vance didn't look at him. Focus all you want. It won't save you. The channel snapped off. The Dauntless looped wide, coming in behind the Tarko cruisers. One fired too soon. The shot glanced off a drifting cargo pod and splashed harmlessly into space. Another cruiser tried to ram, but Vance's helm officer spun them clear with meters to spare. Shields down to 60%, Kaito said. We can't take sustained fire. We won't, Vance said. We're not here to trade punches. We're here to make them bleed. The asteroid rolled behind them, and with it, the cover it had given. The Tarko fleet regrouped, their formation tightening again, this time with a wary gap where the Dauntless had struck. Ryland leaned closer. They're adapting. They'll need more than that, Vance said. She tapped the tactical overlay. Next phase. We force them to overcommit. Argus' voice was calm. Calculating optimal retreat vector to bait fastest pursuit vessel into isolation. The ship shuddered as another plasma lance grazed the shields. The hull groaned. Crew strapped tighter into harnesses. Vector locked, Argus said. Pursuit probability, 87%. Do it. The Dauntless peeled away from the engagement, engines flaring bright. Behind them, a Tarko cruiser surged forward, faster than the rest, eager to cut off the apparent retreat. The rest of the fleet hesitated, unwilling to risk leaving the flagship exposed again. Vance allowed herself a thin smile. The trap was set. Helm maintained speed. Keep them thinking they're winning, she said. Kaito, arm proximity torpedoes. On the tactical map, the pursuer closed the distance. The rest of the Tarko ships fell back to guard the flagship, which was still venting plasma from the earlier strike. Pursuer entering torpedo envelope, Kaito said. Hold, Vance murmured. The gap shrank. 10 kilometers. 8. 6. Now. The torpedoes launched in silence, each one drifting cold in the void until they armed themselves at the last instant. The Tarko cruiser's sensors picked them up too late. 6 detonations went off in sequence, the blast wave shattering armor and gutting its engines. The cruiser spun out of control, tumbling into the asteroid's debris field. The rest of the fleet didn't move to rescue it. Pursuer destroyed, Argus confirmed. Vance studied the holomap. The Tarko formation was thinner now, its movements hesitant. The psychological advantage was shifting. We've shown them we're not prey, she said. Now we show them what happens when they start the hunt. The crew exchanged quick, fierce smiles. Ryland's voice was low but certain. Then let's finish this. The Dauntless banked hard toward the crippled flagship. The Tarko flagship hung wounded in the void, its venting plasma glowing like a slow, bleeding wound. Flanking ships drifted uneasily, weapons still armed but formations ragged. The Dauntless closed in, her prow angled straight at the enemy's exposed stern. Bring forward batteries online, Vance said, her voice level. Target aft shield generators and weapons grid. Acknowledged, Kaido replied. Solutions locked. Vance watched the timer tick toward the next shield harmonic cycle. Fire! 6 beams stabbed through the dark. They struck the already weakened shields, which flared once before collapsing entirely. The next volley slammed into the flagship's armor, tearing deep channels through its hull plating. Sparks and debris scattered into space. Flagship FTL drive is unstable, Argus reported. Reactor safety limits exceeded. They can't run. Ryland leaned forward. They'll fight to the last. They won't get the chance, Vance said. Ready all remaining torpedoes. 2 Tarkle cruisers tried to swing in to block the line of fire, but Dauntless rolled starboard, staying inside the vulnerable arc. Her escorts, Hammerfall and Resolute, darted in from opposite flanks, harassing the cruisers with concentrated bursts until they fell back. Proximity alert, Kaito warned. Multiple enemy frigates moving to encircle. Break them apart, Vance ordered. The Dauntless unleashed a storm of point defense fire. Shards of metal and ruptured hulls tumbled past as the frigates scattered, their attempted net broken. On the holomap, the Tarkle flagship wavered, drifting slightly off its original course. Vance could almost feel the shift in morale across the enemy fleet, cohesion unraveling under the weight of uncertainty. A priority hail pinged the bridge. Zherkal's face filled the screen. His crimson eyes burned, the ridge of his jaw flaring in controlled fury. You should have yielded, human, he said, each word sharpened. Vance didn't look away. You should have listened. His throat scales rippled, but he said nothing more. The channel closed. Argus, Vance said. Disable that ship without destroying it. I want it drifting where everyone can see. Understood. Torpedoes streaked across the gap, detonating in bright blossoms along the flagship's dorsal batteries. The shockwaves rolled down its length, shattering weapon mounts and severing power conduits. Its main gun arrays went dark. Life support readings spiked erratically, then stabilized, just enough to keep them alive. They're dead in the water, Kaido confirmed. The remaining Tarkle vessels hesitated, their tight formations dissolving into scattered defensive positions. One by one, their transponders lit with retreat vectors. They're running, Ryland said, his voice edged with disbelief. They're regrouping, Vance corrected. They'll try to explain this away as a tactical withdrawal. That ends now. She keyed the comm to all ships in range. This is Captain Elara Vance of the Terran Interstellar Navy. Today the Tarkle Dominion set a trap for a civilian convoy and attacked without cause. They failed. Let the galaxy see the price of arrogance. Argus transmitted the full battle telemetry, visuals, sensor logs, comm intercepts, across every open network in the sector. The feed showed the Tarkle formation's collapse in stark clarity. On the bridge, a quiet settled. The crew absorbed what they'd just done, outnumbered, pinned, and still standing. A fresh alert flashed on the main display. 2 Tarkle cruisers charging FTL, Kaito reported. The rest holding position, but at a distance. They're waiting for orders that won't come, Vance said. Stand down from pursuit. We've made our point. Her gaze shifted to the crippled flagship. Its once proud hull now bore the scars of concentrated fire, jagged rents still glowing. The Tarkle symbol near its prow was half melted, the edges curling inward like charred paper. Hull stress on Dauntless is high, Ryland said quietly. Minor breaches in sections 7 and 12, but we've got them sealed. Casualties. Later, Vance cut in gently. Damage control first. Yes, Captain. She let her eyes sweep across the bridge. Her crew looked worn, some pale from adrenaline crash, others still riding the edge of the fight. Every one of them was alive because the plan had worked. Argus spoke, voice level but tinged with an almost human cadence. Probability of success at battle start, 6.3%. Kaido gave a low whistle. Not bad odds in hindsight. Ryland smirked. If you like living dangerously. Vance allowed herself a faint smile. We didn't come here to gamble. We came here to remind them who they're dealing with. The escorts moved back into close formation, their running lights flickering in acknowledgement. Damaged crews reported progress, patched hulls, rerouted power conduits, systems stabilizing. Captain, Kaido said, flagship is broadcasting a sector-wide surrender beacon. Let them keep it on, Vance said. It'll save time for the next patrol. For the first time since the Dauntless had dropped out of FTL, the stars around them felt still again. The drifting cargo pods, the original bait, floated quietly nearby, silent witnesses to the fight. Ryland rested a hand on the hollow table. Remind me never to play cards against you, Captain. Vance's eyes stayed on the Tark flagship. I don't play cards, she said. Too much luck involved. Her hand hovered over the command console, then she keyed a short-range hail to the Tark survivors. This engagement is over. Recover your wounded and go. The next time you cross Terran space without cause, you won't get the chance to run. No reply came. The Tark ships turned, one by one, and slipped into FTL. The crippled flagship remained adrift, its beacon flashing in the dark. Vance stood. Set course for the nearest relay station. We'll escort the civilian sector patrols back here to clean up. Aye, Captain, Ryland said. As the Dauntless swung on to her new heading, Vance let the weight of the moment settle. They had survived. More than that, they had struck a blow that would echo far beyond the Perseus frontier. Argus' voice broke the silence. Message queued for all Terran fleet channels, Dauntless has returned. Tarkle trap failed. Would you like me to add a statement? Vance considered it. Just 3 words. We're not prey. Done. Outside, the stars stretched into lines as the Dauntless entered FTL once more, leaving the wreckage, and a lesson, behind.